Welcome to Profarma Knowledge.
Let us go through the drugs that are used as anthelmintics. We have pyrantel palmoate, praziquantel, and piperazine. One thing we should see in common here is all the drugs are starting with P. So pyrantel palmoate, pyr, starting with pyr, praziquantel is pra, and piperazine is piper. Or the common thing what you can notice here is nothing but all the drugs are starting with P. And the mechanism of action also finally will be ending with the paralysis. So all the drugs, they start with P and end with paralysis. They are causing paralysis in the worms. Praziquantel and pyrantel palmoate, they are causing spastic type of paralysis, and piperazine will be causing flaccid type of paralysis. What is spastic paralysis and what is flaccid paralysis? Spastic paralysis is nothing but spas or spasms. Whenever there is excess of contraction, the excess of contraction means nothing but absence of relaxations in between the contraction. So there will be continuous contraction. Because of these drugs, there will be continuous contraction in the worm, and that will be causing paralysis, which will be more painful, and which will be, these contractions are actually causing spasm, and which is involved in the paralysis. So spastic kind of paralysis that is coming because of excessive contractions. This kind of spastic paralysis is coming with pyrantel palmoate as well as with praziquantel, whereas here piperazine will be causing flaccid paralysis. Flaccid paralysis is not because of contractions, it is because of continuous relaxation. So piperazine causes continuation of relaxation without contractions. This relaxation will lead to paralysis. That paralysis is nothing but flaccid paralysis. So both these drugs are causing spastic paralysis, and piperazine is causing flaccid paralysis. So all the drugs starting with P cause paralysis. That is one thing you have to remember. Now exactly go through the mechanism of actions. The first drug here is pyrantel palmoate. What actually it is doing is, it is going to actually stimulate the nicotinic neuronal receptors of the acetylcholine. In acetylcholine, there are different receptors like nicotinic receptors, muscarinic receptors, etc., etc. So acetylcholine actually goes and binds to them and exerts its activity. So here what is happening is, once a person is taking pyrantel palmoate, the drug will be acting on the worms. It will actually stimulate the nicotinic neuronal receptors in the worms, and nicotinic neuronal receptor stimulation causes depolarization. So membrane depolarization occurs in the worm. This excess of depolarization is nothing but increase in the levels of sodium inside the cell. So this membrane depolarization will be leading to excess of contraction of the worm. We all know that contraction is dependent upon the depolarization. So nicotinic neuronal stimulation lead to membrane depolarization. So when the membrane is getting depolarized, that will lead to continuous contraction of the worm. The worm muscle undergoes excess of contractions, so it cannot relax and it cannot usually move. If there is contraction and relaxation continuously, then only a worm can move. So it cannot show any movement. That will be called as spastic paralysis. So continuous contractions are leading to spastic paralysis, and this spastic paralysis of the worm occurs. So finally the worm cannot move, and it will be removed out in the fecal matter. So expulsion of the worm in the fecal matter occurs finally. So this is the mechanism of action. And there is also one more minor mechanism of action, that is nothing but anti-acetylcholinesterase activity. We all know, like, acetylcholinesterase is an enzyme that actually is responsible for the metabolism of acetylcholine. Acetylcholine, it's a neurotransmitter, just like how we have seen here. Acetylcholine will be broken down to acetate plus choline under the influence of this enzyme acetylcholinesterase. What pyrantel palmoate is doing is, it will be inhibiting this acetylcholinesterase enzyme, and it inhibits the metabolism of acetylcholine. Thus the levels of acetylcholine rises and the activity of acetylcholine will be increased. So once the acetylcholinergic activity is increasing, that is nothing but that further goes and acts on the same receptors, and it will be showing the same kind of activity. So this is also one more mechanism which is bringing the spastic paralysis in the worms. So these are the mechanisms that are bringing the spastic paralysis in the worms and are leading to expulsion of the worm. Now coming to the adverse effects of the parental palmoate. Simple adverse effects like headache, dizziness, and there are also like GI effects, because mainly worms are located in the gastrointestinal tract. There are adverse effects like tastelessness of the tongue, like the person who is taking this drug will feel tastelessness, and non-irritant like abnormal migration of the worms, that is they become paralyzed and they will be carried out along with the food, and they will move because they are getting paralyzed. Their movement will not be like voluntary, they move along with the fluids in the body, and this will be like non-irritant because they are not actually crawling or they are not actually moving on their own. So that is causing, this drug is causing an adverse effect of movement of the worms in an abnormal manner, but which is not causing any irritation. So these are the adverse effects. Next, coming to the uses. Parental palmoate will be helpful to treat roundworm, hookworm and threadworm. Here roundworm is nothing but the Ascaris lumbricoides, hookworm is ankylostoma, and threadworm is enterobius. Apart from this, this drug is also helpful to treat the pinworms, and like only in single dose is enough for the treatments. Like when we are telling single dose, we have to get into mind about the albendazole, which is also helpful the treatment of many worm infestations only with a single dose. So in the same manner, parental palmoate at a dose of 10 mg per kg will be treating many of the worm infestations. And no fasting. Fasting is not needed before taking the drug. Fasting is not needed. And then no purging. Purging is like isolating the person from the people, from social mingling. Such kind of purging or separation of the person from social movement is not needed for the parental palmoate, because it is not going to give any untoward effects, or this drug also doesn't need any stenna or any other kind of purgative drug is not given along with this. So purging or separation of the person who is using the drug from the people is not needed. So that is about parental palmoate. Next thing is praziquantel. So praziquantel, when taken, it will be actually rapidly absorbed by the worms. Once it is rapidly absorbed by the worms, it will enter into inside of the worm, and it starts showing the mechanism of action. What is happening is, if for example this is a worm, excess of calcium will be leaking into inside of the worm. Because of the action of the praziquantel, the membrane becomes more prone for the calcium leaking. So calcium will be moving to inside of the worm, and then the calcium levels inside the worm rises, and we all know like calcium is responsible for bringing contractions. So this calcium, in excess of calcium inside the worm, will initiate massive contractions. So excess of contractions are coming without any relaxation in between them. So that will be leading to paralysis of the worms. So finally leading to paralysis of worm, then the worm becomes immobilized, and after immobilization or loss of movement, the tapeworms, most of the times this is used to treat the tapeworms. For example, if it is a tapeworm, then the tapeworm will lose the grip on the intestine. It cannot bind onto the intestine, and it will be expelled out in the fecal matter. So this is the mechanism of action. So it rises the calcium level inside and causes excess of contractions, finally leading to the paralysis and immobilization of the worm and expulsion of the worm. So these are the steps involved in the praziquantel mechanism of action. Next, coming to the adverse effects. Simple adverse effects like nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain are coming out with that, and you can see like headache and dizziness like that of the parental palmoate, and also it causes some sedation. So praziquantel causes some sedation. Next thing is uses. So this is praziquantel is mostly used in the treatment of the tapeworms, and neurocystic sarcosis. Neurocystic sarcosis is a special condition in which tapeworm infestation will be there in multiple organs inside the body, for example like brain and intestine, and then also like in the treatment of the H. nana. H. nana is nothing but Hymenoplepis nana, and then D. latum. D. latum is nothing but Diphyllobothrium latum. So in the treatment of these worms also praziquantel will be helpful. Next thing is schistosomes. Also in the schistosome and other fluke infestations also praziquantel is used. There is actually a reaction that's coming out when used in case of schistosomes and flukes. What happens is if the praziquantel is used in high doses, that will actually lead to the loss of the tegument. Tegument is nothing but the outer body covering of the worm. The tegument will be lost, and because of the loss of this outer covering, what happens is the whole content inside the worm will be expelled out. Once all the content is coming out, a worm will be destructed or the worm will be dying. Apart from the death of the worm, what happens to the human is all the contents of the worm are coming out, and they are getting exposed. All the cells are getting exposed to this, and there will be occurrence of a reaction. That reaction will be usually like causing itchiness throughout the body, and then urticarias and rashes, fever and body aches. All these things are seen in this reaction. So praziquantel, when used in high doses to treat schistosomes and flukes, that will be causing a reaction because of the death of the worms and loss of the content of the worms, and that will be leading to a reaction. That's about the praziquantel. Next thing is piperazine. Here you can remember all the things that are actually caused by piperazine according to the letters written in the word piperazine itself. So let us see. The first thing is mechanism of action, which will be easily elaborated in the first 4 letters. And next thing is contraindication, and all the other last things in the azine are nothing but adverse effects. Azine is adverse effects, R is contraindication, and pipe is mechanism of action. So let us see the first thing, paralysis by rise levels of GABA. So mechanism of action, piperazine, the first letter is P, paralysis of the worm by the rise levels of the GABA. So what is this P and what is this paralysis, and how is this? This piperazine actually will be acting as a GABA agonist. So let us see that first point is elaborated here. So it is a GABA agonist. Once GABA agonist is nothing but it will cause the release of excess levels of GABA, and GABA level will be rising. Now once the GABA receptor is having chloride channel, so excess of opening of the chloride channel will be there, and then that will be finally leading to hyperpolarization of the worms. Once the chloride level inside the cell increases, that will be called as hyperpolarization. So it will be leading to hyperpolarization of the muscle in the worms, and then this hyperpolarization of the worm will be leading to relaxation. So no contraction is coming, only completely relaxation will be there. So this relaxation finally leads to flaccid paralysis. So what is that? Paralysis by raised GABA levels is nothing but the piperazine acts as a GABA agonist. GABA levels will be rising, and that will be leading to chloride channel opening that causes hyperpolarization of the muscle in the worms, and that causes relaxation finally. After the relaxation, the worm gets immobilized. The worm cannot move. That is nothing but it causes flaccid paralysis of the worm. So apart from this GABA related mechanism of action, the excess of relaxation that is actually brought upon by the GABA will be inhibiting the acetylcholine response. We all know like acetylcholine is responsible for what? In case of pyrantel palmate, we have seen that acetylcholine brings excess of contractions. So the contraction actually that is brought upon by the acetylcholine cannot be seen in case of the worms that are actually subjected to piperazine. So what happens is acetylcholine activity will be inhibited. So that is nothing but second one. I is inhibits the response to acetylcholine. Excess of GABA activity inhibits the response to the acetylcholine. So acetylcholine that is already present in the worm cannot exert its contraction. So contraction cannot come, and there will be only continuous relaxation that has already come because of the GABA. This will be leading to flaccid paralysis. So that is the mechanism of action. Once what is happening is the worm will be moving in the fecal matter towards the colon side. Then, for example, the piperazine dose is not enough for the worm to be still in the paralyzed state. Then what happens is it will, if the piperazine level is reduced or the piperazine concentration is not enough still. So what happens is after a particular time, the piperazine level will be usually reducing, and then the worm starts to normalize back from the paralysis state. We don't want that to happen. So what we are doing is we are using purgatives so that the fecal matter will move out of the colon fastly, and then the person should not constipate. So we are taking care that the person should not constipate, and then the paralyzed worm should not return back to its activated state, and it should be excreted off. So what we are doing is we are giving a purgative. For example, like Senna will be given along with the piperazine. Whenever a patient is prescribed with piperazine, along with that a purgative will be given. So this purgative will help for the easy excretion of the fecal matter without any constipation. So whatever worms are undergoing paralysis, even before they get activated, they will be expelled out of the body in the fecal matter. So finally leading to expulsion of the worms. I think you got the mechanism of action. Paralysis by rise level of GABA, that's because it is GABA agonistic activity. This is happening, and this will be causing hyperpolarization because of opening of the chloride channels, and this leads to excess of relaxation. This excess of relaxation will predominate the acetylcholinergic activity. So the acetylcholine, whatever is present in the worm, it tries to show the contractions, but our drug that is causing relaxation will predominate, and it will inhibit the response to the acetylcholine. So second step is inhibition of response to acetylcholine. Next thing is the worm may come back from the paralysis to normal active state. To avoid that, next P is nothing but purgative is needed. So what we are doing, we are giving one more purgative, like for example like Senna. Whenever we are giving a dose of the piperazine, we are giving one dose of the Senna, so that it is helping for the expulsion of the worms. So last thing happening is expulsion of the worms. So P for paralysis by rising GABA levels, I for inhibition of the response of the acetylcholine or acetylcholine related contraction, P for purgative is needed, and E for expulsion of the worms. Apart from the purgative is needed, patient preparation is also needed, because we are giving Senna, it causes diarrhea like situations. So the patient preparation is needed by giving this piperazine along with the purgative or Senna. So next thing here is R. During the renal impairment, the drug should not be given in case of the renal impairment, and in case of epileptics it should be avoided. And azine is all about the adverse effects. It is causing GI related adverse effects like abdominal pain and discomfort. A for abdominal pain and discomfort. Next thing is dizziness. Z indicates dizziness, and N for nausea, vomiting, and E for excitement. So these are all the things. You can see like the drugs here, the adverse effects are related to CNS or GIT. So most of the worms are present in the GIT, so they cause GI related adverse effects. That is common thing. Apart from that, one thing you should notice is headache and dizziness are common for most of these drugs in the anthelmintics. Next, it is safe in case of the pregnancy. Unlike that of the albendazole and mebendazole, which are contraindicated in case of pregnancy, piperazine is safe in case of pregnancy and can be used in case of pregnancy. And coming to the uses, this is used as second choice for the Ascaris and Enterobius. So this is used in the treatment of the Ascaris and the enterobius. So that is about the 3 drugs: pyrantel pamoate, praziquantel and piperazine.